Nope, nothing here. That's not my domain. I don't need to use that function. I don't need to use... What's going on? Hey, this disk just erased itself? How can that be? Now, I'm not sure if I can deal with this low-level stuff. We'll see. Yes! Got it! Wow, a pretty butterfly-like image. I don't need to use that function right now. I don't need to use that function right now. I wonder if these butterfly images are somehow connected. A nice ad, but I don't understand what it's trying to advertise. A nice ad, but I don't understand what it's trying to advertise. Hello, can I ask you a few more questions?
Certainly.
Did Mr. Bogdanov's physical appearance affect his relationship with women?
I'm afraid it did. As you very well know, physical fitness is a very important determinant in sexual partnerships in our society. He was desperate to make a good impression on World Union women. With his physical shape, That was somewhat difficult to achieve.
How do you feel he was coping with this?
He was coping with it in the only way he could, finding alternatives to compensate for his inadequacies. That is why he desperately wanted to get rich.
Get rich? Do you believe he was becoming too greedy?
It is scientifically proven that greed is good and it works. In Mr. Bogdanov's case, his greed, boosted by his desperation, was giving him an enormous motivation to be successful.
Was he able to have healthy relationships with the union women?
He was obviously struggling. His primary partner, Ms. Lucan, shared a similar past, so his relationship with her was comfortable due to familiarity. However, with native union women, he just could not get on the same frequency. He couldn't tune in to them.
Did he express any feelings of frustration to you?
He did. Apparently, he did not grasp the basic principles of male-female relationships in the Union. He was still thinking in rogue state mentality, and because of all that, he was trying too hard.
In what ways was he trying too hard?
In our society, the lead to a sexual relationship is generally made by women. In his reality, that is a man's job. Here in the Union, as you very well know, men always play it very cool and seem uninterested. That is the female role in the rogue state social intercourse. If a man is too interested or insistive on a relationship here in the Union, it is perceived by the women as
repulsive?
Exactly.
What did Mr. Bogdanov do in his free time?
He told me he spent a good deal of time in the gym. He wanted to become very fit. He felt that his poor physical form made him an outcast in the society.
And did all this time in the gym give him the results he was hoping for?
I would not know that, Ms. Wallace. I only had 2 sessions with him. But my impression is he was really struggling with his physical appearance. He told me that he hoped he could offset his unattractive physique by other means.
And did he mention these other means?
No, he did not. But my impression is that he had a very strong urge to become very rich. He liked hanging out at expensive places, and he was rapidly developing expensive tastes, such as having therapy sessions from me. It is quite unusual for an individual with an HDI of 70 to come to a real therapist.
What expensive places did he mention?
He liked the Stardust very much. It is a very chic club in the pyramid, usually a hangout frequented by devotees.
Was Mr. Bogdanov meeting his friends at this club you mentioned?
I think he was meeting some friends there.
Did he mention any names?
No, he did not. But my understanding is that he was not there only for the company of his friends.
Was there anything in particular that he was drawn to at that club?
Sure. It was Mata Hari.
Mata Hari?
Yes. She's an exotic dancer. She has this incredible show at the club. I actually watched it once. Even I could not take my eyes off her. Men are attracted to her, just like insects are attracted to light.
Do you think Mr. Bogdanov was also attracted to this Mata Hari?
Very much so. She was like a goddess to him, and he wanted to make an impression on her desperately. It seemed to me like he would do anything to grab her attention, and he thought he needed higher credibility in order to do that. He felt more secure being near to Mata Hari, like a temporary illusion that he had a very high credit status.
Do you think Mata Hari had noticed him?
I'm not sure. Women like Mata Hari like to pay just enough attention to men, and then they walk away. My impression from what he said is that he was on the verge of developing an affinity for her.
I don't think I should take any more of your time today, Dr. Capello. Can we continue later?
Sure, as you wish.
Thanks for all your help.
You're welcome.
I should check out this Stardust Club in the evening.
PA. Add Club Stardust at the Pyramid to my navigation map.
She's probably one of the senior sales clerks.
Hi, I'm Senior Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Adrianopolis Peace and Security Center.
Oh, very pleased to meet you. My name is Monica LaCour. I'm the junior sales clerk of the store.
Well, hello, Monica. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. And you, officer?
I'm doing well too, Monica. I'm here to ask you a few questions concerning your former boss. You are aware of his death, aren't you?
Yes, Officer Wallace, I am. Such a tragedy. How can I help you?
I have just a few routine questions for you. You don't have to worry about anything.
Why should I worry? I have nothing to hide.
What kind of a boss was Mr. Bogdanov?
He was an employee's dream. Sincere, open, and hardworking.
Have you had a lot of bosses?
Oh no. My professional life began with this position.
So, tell me, Monica, what made him a dream boss?
He was very supportive and helpful. You really got the feeling that he cared about us as individuals.
Us, meaning?
Oh, the girls on the floor. He really tried to motivate us.
And how did he motivate you exactly?
You know, an occasional intimate touch can tell you a lot about how a man feels.
Oh, is that so, Monica? Sounds like you've been around the block a few times.
Oh, I guess I had my share of experience. Officer Wallace. Anyway, when he caressed me while I was working, I knew he was trying to inspire me.
So, was he successful in inspiring you?
Definitely. I learned a great deal from him regarding professionalism.
How did you hear about Mr. Bogdanov's death?
An officer responsible for public relations at the Thing Store's chain headquarters here at Adrianopolis called the store. I had the opportunity to talk with the person. I believe his name was Mr. Richard Ackerman.
At that time, did you receive any details regarding Mr. Bogdanov's death?
I was only told that Mr. Bogdanov had lost his life in Russia.
In Odessa, Russia, to be exact.
So I'm really curious about how Mr. Bogdanov died. Are there any specifics available regarding his death?
No, not yet. What was your first reaction when you learned about Mr. Bogdanov's death?
I was totally shocked, but of course I maintained my composure.
That's how a good Union citizen would respond.
I had to remain calm so Alethea, my coworker, wouldn't panic. She can be so fragile.
Is that right?
Yes, somebody had to be emotionally responsible so as not to alarm any of our customers. Oh, I'm sorry. Some customers are in need of my immediate attention.
But I'm not finished with you yet.
I know, Officer Wallace, but I am the one in charge right now, and if I don't respond, I may get in trouble.
All right then, but I will be back.
Oh, thank you for your understanding, Officer Wallace. Anytime.
Well, she got rid of me nicely, all right. And what did I learn? Zip. Hello, Katie. How are you doing now?
I'm doing better, I guess. I'm still shaken.
Can I ask you some more questions?
Certainly.
Katie, I need your opinion about Mr. Bogdanov's recent erratic behavior. I know you told me before. It is not your domain, but unfortunately, we do not have Mr. Bogdanov around to make this assessment with anymore. I need your help.
I told you I cannot help you. Why don't you go and talk to his therapist?
I already have. She did not experience the irrational behavior, so she could not help me.
You're forcing me to make an opinion on something that I'm not authorized for.
I will not add it to my report as an expert opinion. I really need your help here.
Okay, I'll do what I can. I think his behavior could be best described as hyper-emotional and aggressive behavior. It seemed like he had no control over his feelings. And these extreme feelings were the driving force behind his aggressiveness.
Do you think he had a problem fitting in?
I suspect he was not completely comfortable here. I think he was lacking self-confidence. I tried to help him improve his self-confidence, but his physical appearance discouraged him.
But you loved him, nevertheless.
Of course. He was so much in need of love and acceptance. Like a little boy. Oh, I miss him already.
I've taken enough of your time today, Kati. We can continue later.
Sure. As you wish.
Thanks for your help.
Glad to be of service to the system.
So, Bogdanov had no control over his feelings and acted aggressive, hyper-emotional and aggressive? Hi, Ms. Lucan. It's Phoenix Wallace again.
Oh, hello. How are you?
Very good. And you?
I am slightly better, I guess.
Look, Ms. Lucan, I know these are very difficult times for you, and I appreciate your patience with me. Why don't we continue our conversation in a more pleasant place? Do you mind, if we have coffee at the Pyramid?
Oh, well, I must admit it is tempting.
I assure you I will go very easy on you.
Well, all right then.
How about if we meet at Café Rosé in 1 hour?
Oh, that is my favorite. See you in 1 hour then. Bye.
Goodbye. Phew, that was easy. I guess I'm getting better at this. Finally, I was able to convince her to see me. Hopefully, it'll be worth it. Hello, Ms. Lucan.
Oh, hello, dear.
I'm glad you could make it.
I wouldn't pass a chance to spend some time at the Pyramid, especially at someone else's expense. I am officially a GPSN guest, right?
Oh, sure. No problem. What would you like to eat or drink?
I will have an extra spicy burrito and a black coffee, please, dear.
Sure, Ms. Lucan.
And do call me Larissa, okay?
Yes, Larissa. By the way, call me Phoenix.
Phoenix? Oh, that's really cute.
Cute? Yes. Waiter. Is a burrito your favorite in this place?
Yes, it is. It is so well flavored.
I know. I also like Mexican food very much. My favorite is fajitas.
Vegetarian or synthetic meat?
Either's good.
I like those Shinto meats very much. They actually taste better than real meat, you know?
I wouldn't know. I've never had real meat. Is it true that Russian men are smaller in stature?
Yes. The men here are much more well-built and good-looking. So are women.
Do you miss Russian men?
Anyway, yes. They feel much more familiar to me. It has to do with being born to it, I guess.
How safe are the Russian streets?
Not safe at all. We had to go out with bodyguards at all times, and only to designated areas and districts. Otherwise, anything could happen.
Designated by whom?
By the common sense, of course. In order to survive in that kind of environment, we need to know who hangs out where.
Larissa, did Mr. Bogdanov have many friends?
Oh, yes. Yes, he did.
Can you name some of them?
Sure. There are girls at the store. He likes them a lot. His lawyer, psychiatrist.
Larissa, those sound to me more like business associates.
Oh, friends? I don't really know any names of his friends, now that I think about it.
Thank you for coming all the way here to talk to me, Larissa. Maybe we'll continue chatting tomorrow at your home.
Sure, dear. Au revoir.
Well, that got me nowhere. It's very difficult to get any useful information from this woman.
These old buildings somehow survived the riots of the Great Economic War. The entire town center of the old Adrianopolis was later renovated, then converted into a giant mall covered by a pyramid. These old buildings somehow survived the riots of the Great Economic War.
That's an ad for an NGO. NGOs are the pressure groups that look out for the general interest of our society. My favorite gym in the whole world. Reminds me, I could use some physical activity. I've been slipping on my training schedule lately. I could use some physical activity. That felt so good. It's closed. I can't go out in a uniform. It would be so politically incorrect. What should I wear? Wow, this place has a distinct flavor and quality to it. It resembles the clubs I've seen in 100-year-old 2D movies. That door must lead to the backstage. I love that old-fashioned wooden bar. He's the man with the cocktails, and some information, I hope.
Hi, I'm Senior Officer Phoenix Wallace from the Adrianopolis Peace and Security Center.
Hi, Officer Wallace. My name is Fabian. Would you like a refreshing cocktail?
No, not right now. I'm here in an official capacity.
Well then, Officer Wallace, how can I be of help?
Do you know a man by the name of Vasily Bogdanov?
Of course I know Mr. Bogdanov. He is one of my regulars here, although I haven't seen him lately.
Well, I regret to tell you that Mr. Bogdanov is no longer with us.
Oh, you mean he skipped town?
No, he didn't skip town. Mr. Bogdanov is dead.
He died? In an accident or something?
No, he was murdered in a rogue state. But this information is confidential and you're not to tell the others.
Oh, of course not, Officer Wallace. Confidentiality is my second name. Can I ask how he died?
I'll get to that later. First, I need to ask questions.
I will do everything I can to be helpful, Officer Wallace.
Fabian, how often did Mr. Bogdanov frequent this place?
Oh, he was here almost every night. For a while, he seemed to really enjoy himself here.
Did you engage in conversations with him every time he visited?
I can't say every time, but he was a talkative man and very approachable. We had many conversations. His company will be missed in this place.
How would you describe your relationship with him?
Well, I was his bartender and he was my customer. But as you probably know, Officer Wallace, in my line of business, we tend to get to know our customers pretty well.
Actually, I was counting on that, Fabian. Can you say that you were close to Mr. Bogdanov?
It depends on what kind of closeness you are referring to, officer.
Of course, I mean the type of friendship in which he would have confided in you.
Oh, that kind of friendship. Well, you could say that I have a sympathetic ear.
How long have you been working here at the Stardust?
Almost 10 years now. I am at the top of the seniority list.
And before that?
I traveled through Europe. I didn't want to live in this town at that time.
Oh, are you originally from here?
Yes, I am.
Then I can imagine why you skipped down for a long time.
You mean you know about the history of the city?
Yes, I'm from this place as well.
Were you here during the bloodbath?
Right in the middle of it. I lost my biological family and was abandoned on the streets during the savage riot.
I'm really sorry to hear that, Officer Wallace. I guess we are both scarred for life. How did you survive on the streets? Can you recall?
I can't recall much. Sometimes I have horrific flashbacks. I was found by Amnesty International, alone, frightened, and hungry on the streets.
Well, at least we were lucky enough to survive all that. Many of the people I knew from my youth did not.
How about you? How did you survive?
My bio family took me to the hills, along with many others. We spent the entire winter there until the Union Army arrived and put a stop to all the atrocities. We barely survived the harsh winter. If the Union Army hadn't arrived, we would have perished in the hills.
Anyone who survived that carnage owes their life to the Union Army. Did you ever notice anything peculiar about the way Mr. Bogdanov talked?
No, well, maybe. He was sort of difficult to understand sometimes. I never gave it a second thought.
Why was he difficult to understand?
There was something about his accent. He often mispronounced certain words.
And you never considered this to be strange?
Why should I? Many people from Central Europe of his age have peculiar accents. It's because English is not their mother tongue.
Did it ever cross your mind that he could have been an immigrant?
No, it never occurred to me. Was he really?
Yes, he immigrated only 3 years ago, from Russia.
You don't say. I guess you learn something new every day.
Thanks for the information. I shouldn't take more of your time today, but I might come back with more questions later.
Certainly, Officer Wallace.
He must be guarding that door. But why? I guess it's part of the ambience. That door must lead to the backstage. A bronze statue with no head. I bet a lot happens behind that curtain. Beautiful classic furniture from the 20th century. That looks like a security professional. But why would anyone need to employ a security professional? It's probably just for show.
Hi, do you work at the Stardust?
Yes, madame. How may I be of help?
You are a security professional, right?
Yes, madame.
Then we are in the same business.
We are, madame?
Yes, I'm a peace officer.
You are? Are you here for business or pleasure?
Business, I'm afraid. Bye.
He's awfully cute, but on the job right now. slogans are so vivid and powerful. How can turbulence coexist with stability? By definition, they can only exist in each other's absence. What kind of a sick joke is this? What should I wear? I just cannot get that nightmare out of my head. It just keeps haunting me.